Okay, hello. So, if you're new to the channel, I use data to answer questions that are mostly stupid, sometimes serious, and for today's video, I'm returning to my roots a little bit because we're using data to analyze internet happenings and YouTube drama, which were some of my earliest videos. So, back in June of 2020, Shane Dawson and Jenna Marbles made waves by releasing apology videos for their past content and also announcing that they'd be taking a break from YouTube. That happened more than 6 months ago, and true to their word, neither of them have uploaded videos to YouTube since then. Now, it's not like these creators conspired to take their leaves of absences at the same time. Shane and Jenna, as far as I can tell, made these decisions separately, although maybe not independently. And at the time that these videos came out, a lot of people made comparisons of their apologies. And there's a lot of reasons that it's an unfair comparison. Number one, the size and scope of their past content that they were apologizing for was very different, right? For Shane, it was years worth of videos, and he didn't address a lot of the qualms that people had with his content in his apology video. Whereas with Jenna, there were very specific instances that she both pointed to and showed in the video. And a lot of them were videos that the general public maybe didn't necessarily know about. Like, this was something that was clearly weighing on her and she brought to the public's attention. The other reason that it's an unfair comparison is because Jenna's statement was largely unprovoked. Like, at the time she dropped the video, everyone was surprised. No one was really, like, she wasn't caught up in, like, some big canceling. No one was really talking about her past content. But I suppose this has been weighing on her for a long time, so she decided to let it out. With Shane, he was in the middle of drama at the time, and though it wasn't wholly connected to his past content, it did seem like there was an expectation for him to respond to the drama that was happening, and he also took that opportunity to respond to criticism of his past content. At the same time, though, there are a lot of parallels between the two. The most obvious being that both Shane Dawson and Jenna Marbles are OG YouTube giants. Like, they've both been on the platform for 10 plus years. They both have more than 20 million subscribers. They both have had a generation of kids grow up on their content. And of course, both of them were apologizing for past offensive content, you know, like racist jokes, blackface, just general implicit biases and humor that may have flown under the radar 10 years ago, but definitely wouldn't fly by today's standards. And of course, they both released these apologies at the same time, literally the same week of June 21st. And they both had channels of a similar size when they dropped these apologies. And Shane Dawson, in his apology video, said that he was inspired by Jenna's apology video to make his own. So they clearly are similar, or at least Shane would like to think they're similar in that way. And the other thing is that this was totally unprecedented. We have never seen something like this, where a YouTuber chooses to leave their channel, their audience, because of past offensive content. The fact that it happened to two channels of a similar size at the same time means that it is the perfect conditions for us to do a quantitative comparison of the impact of these apology videos on their channel growth. So let's look at some graphs. Now, with Shane, the story is obvious. He made his apology video, and while initially it had a positive response, within hours of that video's release, really some heinous shit started coming out about Shane on Twitter that he didn't have a chance to respond to in the apology video, obviously, because it hadn't really come out before then, and he didn't know that they were on people's radar. So a lot of people found the apology video lacking and were also incredibly disturbed by what they were seeing on Twitter. So he lost a lot of subscribers. And he continues to lose subs, even 7 months after the fact, right? He's lost about 2 million subscribers, which was just about 10% of his original audience size. And I'm not gonna get into what the past offensive content was. There are many videos on YouTube. I don't need to regurgitate what has already been said. But if you are looking for coverage of all of the drama, I will link some videos in the description by people who are far more qualified to explain it than I am. Now with Jenna, it looks like she may have gained subs after she made her apology video, but this is most likely just an error due to the way that Social Blade presents its data. We all know what happened after the Dramageddon scandal, right? People were watching live streams of James Charles losing subscribers and Tati Westbrook gaining subscribers, and that whole culture of hate watching people and watching their subscription count drop led YouTube to change the way in which it presents numbers. So you can no longer get the true number of subscribers of a channel. You can only get the 3 significant digits, right? So in my case, I'm a small channel, so you probably see 2.35 thousand subscribers, which is a good sense of the true amount of subscribers. Like if I have 2,356, like whatever, 6 subs in the grand scheme of thing, it doesn't give you that much more information than the number that YouTube is presenting. Now, with a channel like Shane or Jenna's, where you have 20 million subscribers, each additional digit is like a factor of 100,000. So in order for Social Blade to register a change in Jenna's subscriber count, it would either have to break the 100,000 ceiling or it'd have to drop the 100,000 ceiling. So my guess of what happened here is that Jenna was probably at like 20,190,000 or something like that, and she gained 10,000 subs within a few days and pushed her up to the next digit, so 20,200,000. And she was there for a little bit and then dropped back down to like the original 20,100,000, which means she lost about 100,000 subs in the span of a few months. In the grand scheme of things, that's not a whole lot. If a channel completely stops uploading and you know that you won't see any more content from her, you would expect people to subscribe in mass droves. 100,000, I feel, is not that much. That's just like the natural amount of people who would unsubscribe, not necessarily because they were offended by them or they were upset with them like with Shane's fans. These are probably just people who are like, I don't see the point of continuing to subscribe to her because she's not going to put out new content. So in summary, Jenna's channel growth stagnated while Shane's continues to decline. Just look at the axis scales if you don't believe me. And this is even more obvious when you take both of those charts and put them on one graph. So here, Shane Dawson's channel growth is in purple, Jenna's is in yellow. Like hers is pretty much a flat line since the apology video dropped, whereas Shane had a steep decline, as you can see there. It's worth noting that Shane, even hemorrhaging all of these subscribers, is still above Jenna. I don't know how long that's gonna last. Now let's look at graphs of the total views. For both Shane and Jenna, you can see this huge drop off in views that week that they released their apologies, the week of June 21st. So what that means is that they either deleted or privated videos with a large amount of views that caused a drop off in the total views that the channel has accumulated. This makes sense, right? If they're apologizing for past content and they no longer want to be associated with that content, like it no longer is a reflection of them as a creator, it makes sense to hide those videos from the general public, whether you're deleting them or privating them. You should be removing that stuff from your public-facing channel. So just how many views did they delete in this week? During this week, Shane deleted 1,183,593,720 views. Hot damn. And if you think that's a lot, guess what? Jenna deleted even more. She deleted 1,407,950,072 views. It's a mind-boggling number. I can't even wrap my mind around it. I don't have a good estimation of how many videos that is because we don't know. This could be like a few videos that each had like several hundred million views, or it could be many videos that all had around like 10 million views. I don't know. I'm sure people have compiled lists of the videos that they deleted, but that's a bit too granular of information for the purposes of this video. It is a little bit disingenuous to just look at this week that they deleted views because both of them have actually deleted views a number of times. So Jenna deleted views at least 4 times in 2020. On May 10th, she deleted about 3 million worth of views. 2 weeks later, May 31st, she deleted about 2.5 million. And then of course that week of the apology video, she deleted that huge gargantuan 1 billion plus views. And then a week after, the week of June 28th, she deleted around 7 million views. So this decision didn't necessarily come out of nowhere. She had obviously been thinking about making some kind of apology or facing some kind of retribution for her past content, because more than a month before she made her apology video, she was already making moves to distance herself from that content, to remove it from her public-facing channel. And probably, let's not forget what happened the week of June 21st. This was at the apex of the racial justice movement in the US. It meant that people at basically all levels of society, in all facets of society, were facing reckonings about their past in terms of racism. Now, Shane has deleted views 8 times going back to 2018, but if we just focus on 2020, he deleted views 4 times. So that week that he released the apology video was the first week in which he deleted controversial videos in 2020. So that shows there was no planning on his part. He wasn't thinking about this for a long time like Jenna had been. But after that week that he dropped the apology video, he continued to delete views. So July 5th, he deleted about 20 million more views. In October 11th, he deleted about 1 million more views. And on November 29th, he deleted around 6 million views. So all of this to me presents a very interesting dynamic, right? For Jenna, her span of like reflecting and deleting past offensive content was contained to the span of 2 months. It was something she was obviously thinking about beforehand, but once she dropped her apology video, it was like, I'm done, you know? She said her piece and she didn't look back. For Shane, he did it multiple times, even after the dust settled surrounding his apology video. Months later, to the point where like he was not front of mind for really anyone, and he was still thinking about his branding, his channel, and what he presents on there. It shows to me that his channel is something he's still actively thinking about, and it's something he's actively maintaining, which hints at a return, right? Now, how can I say that so confidently? Well, there are many signs, in addition to this, that Shane is planning a big return to YouTube. People have made videos about this. He's been testing the waters a lot by appearing on his fiance's channel and his podcast. He's released merch. And just recently, his longtime friend, Trisha Paytas, who is having a bit of a falling out with him, to really understate it, she said as much. She said that Shane is planning a huge comeback project and it will make a lot of money. So he's definitely thinking about returning to YouTube. The question is just when. I find it fascinating because Shane is quietly entering YouTube through Ryland, his fiance. Like, Ryland is still making content and is creaking that door ever so slightly so that Shane can walk through it. Meanwhile, Julien, Jenna's longtime partner, is doing the best he can to normalize Jenna's absence on his streams. So he politely answers questions whenever they come up about Jenna, but for the most part, he doesn't talk about her, even though it would probably get him a lot of views. I'm projecting here. I acknowledge that. But this is most likely because Jenna herself decided to leave. She, like, as I said before, this was something that was in the works for a while. She clearly was tired of YouTube, and she took her opportunity to say her piece and say goodbye and never look back. Unlike Shane, who was practically forced off of the platform. So he's looking for a way back, and Jenna is not. So in that spirit, I don't necessarily want to reignite this discussion surrounding Jenna with this video. She clearly wanted to leave all this behind, retire in peace, and I think that's the least we can do for her. And honestly, it makes more sense to spend more time on Shane Dawson's situation anyway, because this whole cancellation was not in any way, shape, or form the first time that he was in hot water. Like I said earlier, Jenna was responding to specific instances that she herself felt sorry for. But with Shane, the sheer volume of content that people were offended by is overwhelming. D'Angelo Wallace was able to make an hour-plus long video of it, and still, not everything that he made is captured in that video. There's a shit ton of really distasteful, offensive, racist, pedophilic jokes and comments. And it was not contained to like just 10 years ago. This has been happening over and over and over again, as recently as 2018. So of course, this content was going to come up over the years. So as I said earlier, Shane has deleted views 8 times. So it was 3 times in 2018, once in 2019, and 4 times in 2020. He's deleted a total of about 1.5 billion views over the past 3 years. And this is in response to mainly 3 buckets of controversy. So in 2018, he was responding to allegations that he was a pedophile, that he was making very sexual jokes about minors and, I don't know, put his fans in really compromising situations. That was obviously a huge controversy, but a lot of people didn't respond to it in the same visceral way that they did last year. And then in 2019, he was responding to allegations of bestiality. This is that infamous cat story and gave us that copy pasta. And then in 2020, it was just the culmination of everything, right? It was the racist jokes, it was the pedophilic jokes, it was the bestiality, it was the uncomfortable situations with his fans, and it was all of the stuff that happened with Jeffree Star, with Tati, with everyone else in the beauty sphere. Anyhow, all of this to hammer the point home that the cancellation that Shane faced in the summer of 2020 was not his first rodeo. And on top of that, many of the allegations he faced in 2020 were complaints that he had come up against before and had successfully recovered from. And yes, while the 2020 cancellation feels very different in terms of the response and people's willingness to forgive him, I think it's important to keep that track record of Shane's past in mind. Because at this point, Shane's return to his YouTube channel is inevitable. Why is it inevitable? Getting into my opinions a little bit, I've always felt that the only way to truly cancel a YouTuber is to stop talking about them so that they slowly fade away in relevance. There were a lot of YouTubers from my childhood, from bygone era, who definitely did some really horrible shit to their fans and have faded away because people just dropped them. That is never going to happen to Shane, or at least won't in the near-term future. He is a larger-than-life personality, and drama channels thrive off of anything that has to do with him. He's reached a level of notoriety where the fact that he has unfollowed someone or someone has blocked him takes over the internet for the day. That's the huge piece of drama. So anyone who commands that much attention is never going to leave the platform, right? Or at least not for the time being. And I'm just really curious, when he does make that return, how will the internet react? Because, like I said before, all of these allegations were because of past content. And part of the reason it blew up was because he has this new audience who wasn't necessarily aware of that past content, and it just did not jive with their modern conception of him and who he presented himself in recent years. And because of that, I think it's really easy for him to say, I'm a changed person, this no longer reflects me or my beliefs. And a lot of people might be sympathetic to that. I'm not going to guess, but I think it will be an interesting case study that a lot of big YouTubers will be looking at and seeing how far will their fans go, you know? At what point will people truly drop someone? It seems like they've dropped Shane from the reckoning that he faced, and also his subreddit, for example, has totally turned against him. Will that last? I don't know. Time will tell. And that's it for this video. Let me know what you think. If you have any conspiracy theories. I have been getting a kick out of the research for this. People, based off of the videos that Shane privated, they're making conspiracy theories about what his comeback video is going to be, and the amount of time and effort people put into monitoring Shane and his actions astounds me. And I can't even comment because here I am doing the same shit. I'm putting hours of my life into doing data analysis and research of internet drama, united in solidarity of putting way too much time and effort into internet drama that most people don't care about. But yeah, don't forget to subscribe and like this video if you want to see more like this. Yeah, I always read the comments, so if you have an idea for what my next project should be, if you know of a YouTube community or internet drama that someone should take a look at in terms of data, let me know. I would love to do that sort of thing. And yeah, there will be a hint to what my next video is about at the end of this video, and follow me on Twitter at vastava_ to stay up to date with me and my projects. That is all for this video today. Goodbye.